Steve here with Allied RPG. This video is part 1 of Magic A through Z as found in the Core Essentials book. As we go through these, we'll try to clarify some things, maybe spell out certain aspects that maybe will bring up questions as you play. But we'll start with the first one, which is absorb. So, absorb. During combat, any damage you sustain this round may be dealt to your enemy in your next turn, in addition to the normal damage you roll. It lasts for 1 round, and it's good for 2 casts. So when would I use absorb? Well, this is perfect for a combat situation where you're kind of getting pummeled and where your enemy has a difficult target, because absorb doesn't matter about the target. If you are taking on damage from that enemy, the next turn, you can go ahead and inflict that same damage. You don't have to target roll for that. Now, you'll have to target roll for additional damage, but this is really good to be able to hit something that would normally be not very hittable. Moving on to adhesion. One object, living or non-living, cannot be removed from your grasp by anyone other than you. Lasts for 3 rounds, good for 2 casts. So when would I use adhesion? Obviously when you don't want something to be let go of. Maybe it's a sword that is very special. Could be a person. You may be in some kind of a cliffhanger situation where you do not want them to fall, and so adhesion basically guarantees that that will not leave your grasp. And so that's when you'd want to do that. Maybe something of value, magic item, something like that, that's under attack, or people are trying to steal it from you. Doesn't matter how strong they are, they can't get it out of your hand. That's when you would use adhesion. Amnesia is always a fun one. The subject forgets up to 3 key memories. Lasts for 3 rounds, good for 2 casts. Now on Amnesia, I like to offer my players the ability to decide which 3 key memories that subject forgets or cannot remember. You can do it certainly as the DM, but I think it's much more fun if you let your players decide. Animal Bond is one of those classics that's been around forever in one way, shape, or form. One non-hostile creature obeys your commands. It lasts for 3 rounds, good for 2 casts. Now, I want to clarify this, that what is a non-hostile creature? Well, anything in the compendium, in the creature compendium, that is listed as neutral would be considered non-hostile. So you've got monsters, which are clearly monsters. They're always going to attack, all that kind of stuff. But typically anything found in nature is generally neutral. Even if they're aggressive, they can still be considered not hostile. So that's what I would do as a DM. With animal speak, you can talk to all manner of animals, not monsters. And this lasts for 5 rounds, and it's good for 3 casts. Animal speak is particularly good for finding out information. So you can speak to animals and basically get what they saw, you know. Maybe they would give an inside scoop on a troop of goblins that went through the woods, something like that. So no one would suspect that they're spies, but essentially you make them your spies. Animate is another fun one. Inanimate objects, small to medium size, assemble to create a large golem. It has a target of 10, HP of 20, and it is under your control. Lasts for 3 rounds, good for 1 cast. Now, animate can be used for a number of things. You don't have to use animate to create a golem. You can use animate just to make an inanimate object kind of come alive. That provides a very good distraction. Obviously, it would freak some people out. So that can be used for that too. You don't have to make it a golem, so to speak, but that is definitely a fun feature. Appropriation is a really cool magic that most people don't take advantage of. In appropriation, you take on 1 trait, power, or magic of an enemy. It lasts for 3 rounds. It's good for 3 casts. Now, appropriation is great if you are finding yourself faced with something that has a superpower or something that is really effective in a certain situation that you don't have. you can take that on. And I think that's, again, one that's sort of one of those little sleeper magics that most people don't think about. But essentially, it kind of opens the world to just about anything as far as what you'd run into in a campaign setting. So, yeah, that's a really cool one. Arcane Rocket is kind of our version of the magic missile. It rolls against whatever target has the highest spirit. And essentially, you get 3 incendiary rockets that launch at up to 3 separate targets, dealing heavy damage to each target. It's good for 2 casts. Not a whole lot to explain there. It's just a bunch of rockets firing at 3 different targets. Again, you have to take the highest spirit as the target for hitting. Artifice is one of my personal favorites because it's very utilitarian. So with Artifice, you essentially can create one small, simple, non-mechanical, non-magic object that takes up 1 gear slot. It's good for 2 casts. Now, even though it takes up gear slots, think of all the cool stuff you can create. It's perfect for those times when, oh man, I wish I had that, right? That's when you would artifice that, and now you have that object to help you through, whether it gives you advantage or that kind of thing. You know, it can be a lockpick, it could be any kind of thing, as long as it's not a complex mechanical thing, and of course, not a magic item. You can't just artifice that. The final one for this episode is Assemble, Disassemble, also another often unused magic that is quite useful. With Assemble and Disassemble, you can put together or take apart any mechanical device or system. It is good for 3 casts. Now, let me make a note of that. Any mechanical device or system. That means that you can basically take down an entire, ship or whatever. Anything that's mechanical, you can mess with it. Same thing if something breaks, if you get, maybe you're in a vehicle that gets damaged and it's irreparable, you can do assemble, disassemble, and put it back together. That's pretty cool. So there's a first look into Magic A through Z in the Core Essentials book. That's on page 26. Again, all of this is free on the website as well. Thanks again for watching, and may your dice always roll with advantage.